It is the agenda for the 21st century you're living in today. For a brave new world where everything that you cherished and held true will no longer exist.
"2016 is now on track to becoming the warmest year on record, and no other place is feeling the effects more collectively than the polar ice caps. Climate scientists have in fact discovered that ice at both ends of our planet is shrinking to ever new lows.
Scientists are trying to figure out what happened to Arctic sea ice this fall. This is the time of year where the amount of ice is supposed to increase, and it should have started happening more than a month ago when the sun set on the North Pole. The pole stays in darkness until spring, and that's prime season for ice to form. But that's not happening this year. By the end of October, the area of Arctic sea ice was almost 1 million square miles below its average in past years. That's roughly the size of the eastern United States. And it got worse last month when parts of the Arctic had temperatures 36 degrees above normal. That was enough to slow growth and even make some ice melt. Sea ice in the Antarctic is also at a record low. NASA posted this photo in November showing a rift in one Antarctic ice shelf more than 70 miles long and 300 feet wide. This winter could see record lows for ice on both poles.
Right now, some protesters of the Dakota Access Pipeline say they have no plans to leave, despite the Army's decision to deny a final permit for construction.
Days of torrential rain in southern Spain have caused widespread chaos. At least 2 people are now known to have died in what is the worst flooding to hit the east and south of the country in almost 30 years. In addition to cutting off several major roads and causing widespread damage to homes, the downpours forced authorities to close schools in both Malaga and Cádiz. Over the weekend, firefighters responded to 1,000 emergency calls, including the rescue of this dog in Malaga province.
I created reptiles.
Footage has just emerged showing what is thought to be a meteor falling from the sky in Russia's Siberia. As you can see, this dash cam caught what appears to be a meteorite lighting up the sky. Rescue services say that they've received more than 400 phone calls from eyewitnesses. And this next video shows light flashes above a residential area. The Emergencies Ministry says that there's been no significant damage.
Теперь у нас 3 солнца всходит. 1, 2 и 3. Вот так вот бывает на севере. Ах, блядь, 3 солнышка. Теперь у нас 3 солнца всходит.
So I just came from Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, at our site for Hyperloop One. We bought all the land there, and then the construction is happening now. So there's giant pylons going up, the tubes are being constructed, and we're shooting for the first full-scale Hyperloop test happening in Q1, Q2 of 2017.
And what is full scale? Is that a human in there?
Full scale is going to be, we'll have cargo in there. It'll be cargo.
Going from where to where?
It'll be 11.5 feet. Almost a kilometer.
Everett, Michigan is located 120 miles from the infamous town of Flint. But unlike Flint, with its lead-poisoned municipal water supply, Everett has Production Well 101 nearby. It pulls 400 gallons per minute of underground water, which is sent to a nearby plant and comes out as a bottle of Ice Mountain spring water. Now Nestle Waters North America, which makes Ice Mountain, wants to keep this total of 400 gallons per minute permanent. Originally, the state allowed 150 gallons per minute to be pulled from PW 101. That was temporarily bumped up by 100 in 2015. Less than a year later, 150 more gallons per minute was added. Now, Nestle Waters North America, which produces Ice Mountain, wants to establish a long-term relationship with that delicious 400 gallons per minute of Michigan groundwater. In its recent bid to permanently pump 400 gallons per minute, Nestle points out that while water levels in aquifers, streams, and wetlands may drop, it wouldn't have a noticeable effect yet.
CNN early on last year, when you had called us on the first time last August, was a lot more open and fair and a lot more balanced. And it seemed as the race went on, they started realizing that this is serious and we need to now start to really hammer him harder.
So you would have liked to have seen more just complete numerical balance on the
because it's not news. It's not news. It's not news. It's
analysis.
It's analysis. It's
and a lot of lies.
It's making people think a particular way. It's not news.
And hold on a second. What were the lies?
Lies. Okay. Well, specific. A way of lying is to deceive. Okay. So when you deceive, it's the same as a lie. So when you give people the impression that Donald Trump does not have the real support that he has. Keep it just simple. A simple fact is, just at his rallies. Hillary Clinton, a big rally for her would be maybe 1,200 to 1,500 people. And the media would pan around the room and show how huge it was and try to make a big deal out of it. And he'd have 30 or 40,000 people. He'd fill up a football stadium, and they would just narrow in the frame just on him. It gives people out there that are ill-informed the idea that there's just a few people there to see him.
Donald Trump drew a crowd of 30,000.
He drew a crowd of about 6,000.
Thousands of supporters outside and inside Trump's events.
Speaking to a crowd of thousands.
You understand that one camera's on lockdown, right, for that? But you're saying that the reporters never, in your mind, even though there was a camera on lockdown, there were other cameras and the reporters never explained that there were crowds. Right. You feel.
All of these experts and smart people were all proven wrong because they didn't realize this was not an election.
What was it?
This was a movement. This was a peaceful takeover of government by the people. And believe me when I tell you something, Donald Trump is going to drain the swamp.
Well, there was drama in Washington yesterday as a 28-year-old fired a rifle into the floor of a crowded DEC pizza shop on Connecticut Avenue. The man claimed he was self-investigating a story that the restaurant was connected with a sex child abuse ring. The story has come to be known as Pizzagate. And it's convinced many on the left that the speech they disagree with on the internet, which they're calling now fake news, ought to be actively suppressed by the authorities.
It's a problem because people believe it, and they don't know the difference between what's real and what's not. I think we're seeing a really troubling time with news consumption right now, where people are going to sources that confirm what they already think. When a fake news article appears in their social media feed, and they like the way it sounds, they don't bother to vet whether it's true or not, and they pass it on, and then somebody else passes it on, and pretty soon you have everybody believing that something has happened when it hasn't. Of course it's dangerous. I mean, look what happened at Comet Pizza. I mean, somebody thought that news, in quotations, was worthy of investigating and took a rifle and went after the pizza parlor. I don't know how we stop it. I mean, people love fake news. They love a good conspiracy theory. I mean, we're at a period in American history where there are an awful lot of people who are fearful of establishment, who want change. But that change is coming at a cost, and that cost is we are not better informed just because we have more sources of information. We're less informed because we're not looking for news, we're not looking for information, and that's my biggest fear is how do you stop this?
An issue that has received a lot of real coverage recently is all the fake news currently popping up on social media. And now one fake story has caused real violence. A North Carolina man was arrested Sunday in Washington, D.C. after a shooting that he says was motivated by an internet conspiracy theory. He is appearing in court this afternoon. Detectives say Edgar Welch told them he drove nearly 370 miles from North Carolina to Washington to self-investigate the bizarre conspiracy theory known as Pizzagate.
Fake news, real gunfire. A North Carolina man arrested in a D.C. pizza shop after brandishing a gun, telling police he was there to investigate a conspiracy theory called Pizzagate.
One of the hosts runs up and is like, "Did you see that guy? You know, he had a big gun."
We actually thought initially that he was a staff member because he was walking straight for that back room. Staff member, kind of looked at me and indicated that this was a gunman.
Edgar Welch appearing in court this afternoon. According to police, Welch said that he had read online that the Comet Ping Pong restaurant was harboring child sex slaves, and that he wanted to see for himself if they were there. The suspect said he was armed to help rescue them. The accusation came from this unhinged story that originated online days before the election, saying that Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman John Podesta were operating a child sex ring. The lie took root in the digital swamps of Twitter and far right-wing websites.
We're not covering Pizzagate enough, even though we covered it every day, to expose the Satanism and the occult and the code words for pedophilia.
October 30th, a Clinton-hating, Trump-loving Twitterer claimed a police source said Clinton was at the center of a pedophilia ring. Others latched onto this, seemingly hoping it was true, scouring dark corners of the web for possible clues. This is how conspiracy theories are threaded together, lie by lie. Eventually a name stuck, Pizzagate, and the believers started harassing the owner of the pizza place.
We've received many calls, but really they're from around the world, so we didn't expect anyone to come.
On Sunday, the suspect fired his weapon. No one was hurt. With detectives still on the scene in D.C., Pizzagate believers were already claiming that this real development was just part of a cover-up.
The media is claiming that this is because of Pizzagate. This is very dangerous fake news. Anybody claiming that the gunman today at Comet Pizza had anything to do with Pizzagate is lying.
D.C. police say this North Carolina man, 28-year-old Edgar Madison Welch, was inspired by a lie spread online to walk into this D.C. pizza restaurant with 2 guns Sunday. Sharif Silmi was there with his 3 daughters and wife.
Well, we're at the Comet Ping Pong, really just enjoying a lunch, having a good day there. I was playing ping pong with my wife, and my kids were kind of around us. They were playing foosball, and this guy basically walked in. He was walking straight directly for the back room.
D.C. authorities say Welch admitted he drove to D.C. from North Carolina to, quote, self-investigate Pizzagate, a fake story alleging Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman, John Podesta, were involved in a child sex ring at Comet Ping Pong. Again, the story is not true. There is no evidence, no victims, and police call it a fictitious conspiracy theory. Nonetheless, authorities say Welch had a handgun, shotgun, and rifle. 2 of the firearms were recovered inside the restaurant, and another was found inside his car. Police say at one point he fired off his weapon after pointing it at an employee.
I was aware of the situation surrounding the Comet Ping Pong, so I thought maybe they have security or people that are coming in and out. So my initial reaction wasn't really to respond, but then a staff member kind of looked at me and indicated that this was a gunman, and we just swiftly made our way out to the exit and got out of there.
The Pizzagate lie began circulating shortly before the election, based on false social media posts from individuals lying about anonymous sources about a sex trafficking ring linked to the Clintons. The rumor spun off into a theory about the pizza place based on twisted interpretations of emails and pictures.
Drumbeats, cheers, and tears. The sound of victory for the Standing Rock Sioux, and thousands of others gathered to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline.
The autumn's been relatively warm and kind to the North Dakota pipeline protesters. That changed suddenly and icily on Monday. Winds of more than 60 kilometers an hour blasted the protesters' makeshift camp. Temperatures plunged to around -9°C.
Over the weekend, protesters rallied in major cities across Brazil to support a corruption crackdown. They are aiming to pressure Michel Temer's government to make some changes.
We begin with some tough news. That breaking news, a terror threat in Los Angeles targeting the Universal City Metro line. FBI now investigating the credibility of the threat. Officials say it was specific and imminent.
Authorities in Los Angeles say they've stepped up security around the city's commuter rail system. This comes after the FBI said there was a specific threat against the Universal City subway stop on Tuesday. Officials say they don't know if the threat is credible.
This could be real, it could be a hoax, but we must remain calm but vigilant.
Sheriff's deputies with police dogs patrolled the rail station Monday night. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti urged residents to go about their normal activities, but some commuters aren't so sure.
I know I won't be on the train tomorrow. I feel like it is a very dangerous situation. There's threats every day that aren't taken seriously, and we hear about it after the fact.
I'm a little nervous, but you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do.
The subway station is next to Universal City Walk, which is filled with restaurants and nightclubs.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
And in time of domestic crisis, men of goodwill and generosity should be able to unite regardless of party or politics.